Hi, everybody. Welcome to Connect and Grow podcast. And if you're watching the video on YouTube, it's still our podcast. My name is Jackie Grant, and today we have Maria Davies. How are you, Maria?
I'm really good, Jackie. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. So, guys, just before we get into the whole conversation about Maria and what she does and everything, we just want to let you know we would love you to subscribe, like, and share. Also, know that on Spotify we have subscribers and we have our Connect and Grow magazine, which we always do a plug for our guests as well in that magazine. That's coming out on the 25th of September. So, if you're watching this later, you can go back and buy it through our website. So now that we've got the advertising out of the way, and as you know, just because I always forget, the website's Break Free Consultancy. Links are all in the write-up, really easy to find. And we're also going to share Maria's links as well so you can get in touch with Maria. So, Maria, for those that are playing at home, tell them a little bit about yourself, please. Like, who are you? What do you do? And why such a magical background?
Thanks, Jackie. I'm Maria Davies from Mariaheals. I combine medical intuition and business coaching I've become a spiritual growth coach. That is really because the power is within. So it's the mirror that we hold up to the universe. Who am I? What am I doing? That's my questions. Who am I? What am I doing? How am I being of service? And how am I showing up? Am I showing up on my soul's mission? It's very important for me and my energy to show up as I am, but being of service and fulfilling my soul's mission. So, what's your soul's mission? What is a soul's mission? That's a
Mm,
whole definition in itself, and it's taken me a lifetime to drill down to what my soul's mission. But really, it's about showing up and being visible and being authentic and holding your
mm,
own values as your integrity.
mm. Yeah, I love that. And for someone that has that spiritual accent, part of me in the sense that I tap into it, and I'm also for those that don't know, I am a Reiki master teacher. So, and I often forget sometimes to actually go, oh, maybe if you gave yourself some Reiki, you would feel better. But that's just par for the course. But what made you, or when did you realize that this was your soul, like this was your soul purpose here, this with bringing the whole lot together for people in their business as well as their personal life?
So I growing up, I didn't have a framework of empathy or sensitivity. It was seen as not a gift, but it was seen like a detriment. Like, don't be so sensitive. Don't take it personally. I'm like, hello? How else do I take it? I never got that. So I walk away thinking that I was broken, that I wasn't, that I, that the way I was showing up was wrong, but I was showing up as myself. I can't be anyone else. I'm just me. So now it gives me great pleasure to really hold the space and create and actually help people create their own framework. I don't create any frameworks. I've just done my own. I help
Mm,
people create their framework that they're safe, secure in being themselves, whether it be sensitive, whether it be sensitive to energy, how they read energy, what processes work for them. Do I remember to do my Reiki? We have
mm,
so much noise around us that sometimes we forget our gifts. And I'm here to remind people that they are gifted and that we're all magical and we're all gathering evidence of how magical we really are along the way. You can see it in our children, teenagers. They actually demonstrate their magic in lots of ways. And then adulthood is how does it set a foundation
mm,
to propel us forward. So, how can we trust ourselves? How can we trust the people around us? How do we stay safe with who we are?
mm. Yeah, they're great. They're great questions and great statements. I think um, that one of the things that we uncover as you listen to our podcast, and we're going to be doing a whole heap more as time goes by. But one of the things that I love to encourage people to think about is that your past doesn't have to define you, because you have an opportunity right here, right now, to really go, actually, that was a great learning experience, or whatever whatever language you want to use. But I don't need to carry that anymore. It's a little bit like putting down the baggage, cleaning out the wardrobe, whatever way you want to look at it, whatever metaphor. So if someone was to come to you and was to say, so Maria, I know that my life purpose is to connect people. Like I just know I'm really good at that. So that's all I know. Where would you start? Because I mean, like, if someone came to me with that, I'd go, oh my gosh, we're going to be here for ages. There's so many questions.
Yeah, so how do you like to connect? It's for one, I would, as they're answering my questions, and I'm the same, I have lots of questions. I'm very curious, and I wonder what's possible. So I would ask lots of questions, but my point of difference is I read their bodies. So their heart lights up, their
Yeah.
liver lights up, their pancreas no longer is anxious. Because when we talk about our soul's mission, it's like I see color and I know that they're lighting up from the inside out. And I know when they've hit the right answer for them. And that's what navigates them to their soul's purpose. So my coaching is to ask the question that they get their own answers. And I see their bodies light up in a way that when they come to me, they might be dense in energy, they might have dark spots, they might have an aura that's clouded. There's lots of different ways that people present, and you feel people's energy before you actually see them, right? So I
Yes.
see it in form, which is really weird and took me a long time to really appreciate. But now that I've appreciated, it's almost shortcuts all that. Oh my God, who am I? Who am I? Who am I to do that? But feel it. I think for
Yeah.
me, and this is what I teach my clients, is the answers comes in the silence. And when we can read our bodies,
Mm. Mm.
that's what's talking back to us, because we're a body that houses a soul that's been here for many, many, many lifetimes.
Yeah. Okay. So it really is that saying of, well, what lights you up? It's like that
Yeah,
sometimes.
you can't make it up. These sayings are out there for a reason.
Yeah, I love that because, like, I had someone, a person call me today, and she was trying to make a decision around whether she, starts off her own business in the NDI sector. And as those of you that are playing at home know, the NDI sector is under like great turmoil at the moment. Like, somebody got the ball, shook it up, and it's now just floating around everywhere. Like, we're trying to find the pieces. And she goes, oh, well, I don't know, Jackie. And I said, okay, so there's a couple of things, I said, I don't want these answers. These questions are for you to think about. And I said, so if money wasn't a problem, what would you do? And what makes your heart sing? What makes you feel alive? Because, and there's that saying of life is too short. Well, life is kind of as long as we're meant to be here, but it can feel like it's a drag, or it can feel like you can go through the worst stuff. Like, I've been going through my own health stuff, and I can sit and poor me and not do anything, and then every day drags. Or I can go, oh, I wouldn't mind making a bracelet today. That always brightens me up a little bit. I wouldn't mind going for a walk, or whatever it is.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons I teach craft is I'm trauma informed, so I'm a trauma informed teacher. So why I teach craft, because it's the simplest way to navigate to your central nervous system recalibrating itself. So my thing is, how do we get to homeostasis? Homeostasis is who you truly are, and that's where you're
Mm-hmm.
safe. And homeostasis is where all the healing happens. It's not what the shoulds and the coulds and the woulds, it's just what is. And once we
Mm-hmm.
receive that, we can grow from there. And crafting is a way of hands are healing. When we craft, We
Mm,
actually help our nervous system relax, recalibrate, and come back to who we
mm,
truly are.
mm.
The
I love
powerful
that.
ones. We're all powerful. Yeah.
Oh, and I think it is really a matter of being open.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's, yeah, being open to, yeah, discovering the layers of you.
Mm,
Because
mm.
once you know, no one can say, "No, that's not you. No. How can you say that? No, I can't hear that. That is me. I own that. I claim
Yeah.
that." And the magic that I teach is reclaiming magic, which is reclaiming all parts of you. It's bring it
Mm,
in. Who am I?
mm,
Bring it in.
mm, mm.
Is there any good and bad? I don't know. It's experience. Sometimes it feels yuck, but there might be
Yeah.
something in it. Like, let
Yeah,
this
there's
too shall
always
pass.
something.
That's a new one. Yeah,
Yes, yes, yes. And as we were saying just before we went live, that like I have learnt, and I mean I'm still practicing this one, is that sometimes I become hyper fixated on something, and it doesn't matter what it is. It's not about whether it's good or bad or indifferent. It's just what is. So like at the moment I'm holding on to a ring. So I could become hyper fixated on this ring. Oh, look at the rainbows and all of this. But if I hold on too tight to this ring, firstly, I'm closed off because I'm holding my hand closed because I'm holding on so tight. Nothing can move, nothing can grow. And that's one of the things that I love about the work that you do because, okay, you might be holding on tight, but there's a way to let go and grow and still be safe and still have your ring. That's what you're holding on to and is important to you.
totally, totally. And the whole premise of knowing yourself is feeling safe and secure in the steps in who you are now, but also trusting the nudges for the steps going forward too. But it's appreciating all of you. It's this notion of self care really eluded me. I was like, when I first came online, it was the big buzz, self care, self care.
Mm,
I'm like, what is that? What what is that? But it's not external. So people will relate to self care as going to get a massage or having
mm,
time, doing pretty things, which is wonderful. Like I do all of
mm,
that too. But self care is really about coming into yourself and maybe putting your hands on your heart
mm,
and appreciating all of you, all your experiences, all your thoughts, all your emotions, good or bad, because we tend to label them. Um,
yes.
but once we have that allowance and acceptance, things just get a little brighter.
Yeah. A little bit clearer. It's like the light can sometimes it can be that complete light bulb moment of, oh, suddenly it's really bright. And then other times it's a subtle change.
Yeah, and joy comes in the micro moments in life. Sure, we
Tell
have
us more
these
about that.
joys. Yeah, so we experience joy in the micro moments on a daily basis, but we're too busy to acknowledge them. So for
Mm,
me, joy could be I'm filling up my glass of water and it's
mhm,
clear and it's going to nourish me. That brings me joy. Joy might be I light a candle and the flame
mm,
bursts with joy and it's so colorful, and then it will have a purple hue which speaks
mm,
to me, and then I look at the flame and that's joy. And joy can be that I wake up and I'm refreshed. It's
mm,
joy. It's those moments that we tend to rush through and not
mm,
acknowledge, that can really build up that resilience and that empathy that we have for ourselves, because we start with empathy
Mm,
for everyone else, but
mm,
that's the self-care. It's like coming back to yourself, and we're all good enough. We all have the power to take action, be inspired, and remember, you're always supported. It's when we don't feel supported that we tend to forget who we are.
mm. Especially if you've always been the person, for whatever reason, that is always putting everyone else first. Like, so some people, if you give them some time to themselves, they like, don't know what to do. I should be, and I'm going to say this is different to ADHD. So just for those of you listening that have ADHD, because I do too, this is a different energy. Um, that I remember I was always out. I was always giving to the kids, to the people in my life, to work. And then I would come home and, the kids might have been out, or when they moved out of home, that was kind of like I'd come home to the dog, which was great. But it was still like I'm supposed to be doing something for somebody, because that was kind of my definition of who I am. But that was only one small part of me. So do you find that a lot of people that come to you initially are looking out at that external validation of who they are versus the internal validation?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, yes, yes. So much. We're scared of the void. We fear the void. So the void in say a cartoon, in TV shows, what we're shown is a big black hole. And that
Mm,
emptiness, that I've got time for myself now, what do I do? Why can't you just sit?
mm, that's a good
We are
question.
we have been yeah, we have been trained to be busy.
Mm,
And if we're not busy, we're not achieving. But
yeah.
when I think about the monks, and I think about the all the practices across the world
Mm,
that us in silence in the healing, when we think about what we do in the healing space, it's it's just having space. It's
mm,
calling in that energy. It's remembering how powerful, how magical, how inspiring you really are, how you can co create with the world. But we need to spend time doing cultivating that skill
mm,
set as well, because we've been trained to be busy, but now
mm,
we're unlearning.
mm,
I think as
mm,
we get older, I know for me and people around me, my clients, I always say slow down to speed up. Slow down to speed up. You only get the answer in the slowdown.
mm.
Speeding
I,
up
I
doesn't
always,
help.
no, and I, as a person with a brain that's a little different, I can process information quite quickly, but it's exactly what I've taken from it, because I can be very literal as well. So I remember the first time I heard that saying of, slow down to speed up, or a version of, I was like, nah, dude, I can't do both. Like, which one do you want me to do? Like, it was very, like, and in a way, you are saying it literally, but it's like I can get the information quite quickly, but I can't always give it back to you quickly. And I find that that's been really interesting learning that. But I always get answers when I go to the beach. Ironically, even if I'm in my car and it's pouring rain, I I actually used to go to the beach more in winter than summer. Lately, I haven't been a lot, but or driving my car, like I don't even, I'll have the music on in the background just because that helps me to keep my focus here. But I found that learning to meditate I started with guided meditations, and now they annoy me because it could be the voice, it could be something else. So now I'm like, there's there's still sound. Even right now, if we didn't speak, there's the birds in the background. That if I kept talking, I might not have noticed them. And just that, if you like birds and that little chirping, that could be quite therapeutic. So I guess my other question for you is, if someone was to come to you for a session and they've never met you before and they've never connected with you before, without obviously going into the way you work, but how long would that first initial session be? Like, you have all different levels. Like, tell us a little bit about how all that works.
So if they haven't met me before, we dance around. But I do want to go back to what you said about
Sure.
slowing, like listening to the birds, because
Mm,
that's in the silence. That's what we hear. We can hear what we need to hear to touch our hearts. We can only channel our higher self in the silence. So we know the answers. We can tap into that.
mm,
Yeah. Uh, it's real. It's just so important to give yourself space. Whatever, I do silent meditation, but that's me. I find your way, and the
mm,
beach is an elemental. There are gifts in the
mm,
elements. So some of us like to go to the beach. I do too. Some of us like to go into forests and hug trees. I like that too.
mm,
Some of us like to go
mm.
and put their feet on the ground. So there's all sorts of things. And it's elemental, and it has to do with your birth chart. So it'd be interesting to know. Yeah.
Mm.
So I'm missing Earth
Yeah,
in my birth chart. So I like
I'm a
to
water
Earth.
sign.
So me too.
Yeah, well,
I'm sorry, I'm
yeah,
an air sign with a water underneath. So I'm very
yeah,
I appear watery.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I think too, the more awareness that we have about, like, we don't, if you don't want to get into your star chart and when you were born and all that, you go, oh, that's all a bit too woo-woo-y. If you, like you said, if people stop and listen and don't make it complicated, like, just go, oh, feeling a bit agitated, what might help me feel a bit more, so I'm just going to go for a run, or I'm just going to go for a walk, I'm just going to go for a swim. And it's never just that. Is such a powerful moment. But like you were saying, with
Exactly.
the moments of the moments of joy, is that it can be so, we can minimize it to not be important. I'm not saying announce it to the world, hey everybody, just letting you know I'll be going for a swim, and then you pop it on Facebook, just letting you know I'm going. No, we're not talking about that. Although if you really want to, go right ahead, but personal choice. But yeah, what I'm hearing from you is really about knowing yourself as a person, your traits, your responses, your reactions, and then, if you so
Yeah.
choose, create change.
Yeah, and awareness is the absolute key. Awareness is the absolute key to freedom, transformation, the gift, conscious evolution, the result. We can contribute a lot more when we're feeling safer. So going back to your question, I'm sorry, that I felt that was important, elementally, to
No,
know
no.
where you're drawn to, and it's
Mm,
it was always very supportive of my next stage of evolution. So I like to touch on that. So people work with me. We just go into a dialogue. It's very simple. We go into a dialogue. What I do in a session, which the client doesn't always know, is that I'm reading your body. So as soon as you
mm,
come to me, I'm reading your body. What you're saying is not only words, it's conveyed through your body, through your somatic responses. So
mm,
it's an embodiment. I don't make a big deal of it. I just do it.
mm,
And then I I will ask in my coaching, I will ask the questions that light, as I said before, that light up
Mm.
to the right aligned answer for what their body is showing me. So it sort
Yeah.
of it's a skill set that I've developed over years. So
Oh, great.
the
Yeah.
client will walk away going, I'm not sure what happened there, but I'm definitely feeling lighter.
Yeah.
I have answers, not sure if I'm going to act on them. And then I find out that they act on them and they're going, oh my God, you can't make this shit up. So we can, so I will truly believe if it's not in your realm of reality, it's not going to happen. So, how
Mm.
inspired are you and what is in your realm of reality? And then sort of we introduce different things along the way that might support you that you may have not thought about. So that's my client session. So I always channel, think outside the box, always reading their body.
Mm. Yeah. And I noticed that you do a lot of different workshops. So, is it kind of like you? Because I was going to come to one, and then oh, that's right, I had to go to hospital instead. I much would have much rather come to spend the time with you than hospital, but that's okay. Um, so I noticed too that when you do a workshop, do you just sort of you tap into your higher self and you go, right, so what is it that people are looking for right now, so that or do you have a go with this? Some people focus on, oh, spring's the time of planting seeds, winter's a time of hibernation. So how do you work out, or is it just like, yep, got the message, thank you universe, that's what we're gonna do?
Yeah, so it used to have a formula because that kept me safe. I used to have a formula according to someone else's rules. And
Right.
that's great. It's a great starting point, great framework, really helped me to develop my own channel. But now I'm just
Mm.
sort of guided. Now I just,
Yeah.
as soon as I have the answer, that's what I go with. And then I
Love
develop
it.
a
I love
craft. Um,
Mm.
craft. We play. I think adults need to play. We need to light
Oh,
candles. And
100%. Yeah, yeah. Where I've got this conference for, it's primarily businesses in the disability sector at the moment. So we've got an expo on one day and then we've got the conference on the Tuesday. And I was like, it's one thing to sit and actually hear speakers, right? Like, and we've got a great lineup and we've got panel discussion, and we're gonna give people an opportunity in the morning to say what else would you like, but they got to tick a box. So we're going to kind of guide them a little bit, because if we leave it open slather, we'll be there for the next five weeks. Like, it's just, we're never going to leave. But I was sitting there thinking, a lot of what I do is about embracing the uniqueness of who you are, which is effectively what we're also talking about, just using different words. So I ordered these notebooks, and I was going to put something on the front cover, and then I went, you know what? No, we're going to do that as part of the conference. We're going to say, so take a moment and now put a cover on your notebook. See what comes. I used to do that type of thing with children, and I ran children's workshops, and so they came for one term each. I think it was a Thursday, and we did, we had snack, we did some quiet meditation, and we always had a theme and a color. And then when we went to the craft time, they were never allowed to. The first story, we had the rule, you were not allowed to draw anything I could recognize. And I remember the parents came and just observed this, like they were in the background to observe what I was doing, because I said, come in and see what we're doing, like to make sure you're happy with this. These are your babies. And even though we might have talked about dolphins under the sea and the sea life, and that might have been the meditation, but the first drawing was not allowed to anything. If you did anything I could recognize, it was, here's a new piece of paper. And the parents are like, that's a bit tough, because we're talking primary school. Well, the kids were used to this by now, so they were just like, oh, I made a mistake. Okay, it's all right. Here's another piece of paper. Go again. When those drawings were all collected, they were then allowed to do the theme, and then if there was time, they could do a third imagery of whatever they chose. And we had paints, crayons, textures, pencils, pens, so they could choose their medium. That at the end of that school term, the children that were deemed disruptive, the children that were deemed naughty, the children that were deemed never to get the gold award at school, they all got the gold award. And their siblings who normally got the gold award also got the gold award. And the teachers all said to the parents, what did you do? They're starting to concentrate a little bit more. Sure, there was still the hyperactivity in some of them, and ADHD wasn't a thing like it is now back then. But if I looked at them and used that DSM-5 guide, I would go, yes, probably. Like, I'm not a doctor, but those traits were certainly present. But to see them, kids that never thought they would ever get a gold award, to get that gold award at school
Very special.
was amazing. Yeah, and the parents asked me why I did it where they could just pick up whatever medium they wanted and just almost even close their eyes and just move it on the paper, like whatever way they work. They asked me why I did that, and I said because when you remove, I only have one rule. The one rule was open your mind. Because whatever you create is perfect. It gave them the freedom to express themselves. And I see a lot of the work you do as being similar.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, because the world's looking for you and only you. Especially for us that stand up and be of service. We all have a soul family. We're not chasing them. They're actually looking for us. Just like I'm looking for people that might be of service to me. I'm looking for them. All they have to do is show up. Same with us. All we have to do is show up. And there's no narrative that defines how you show up, just like a narrative that defines what they should draw. But when we open up to the channel, we open up to our true selves, not the one with all the narratives and all of the I'm the middle child and I'm old and I'm this and I'm that. But open up to your true self. I think there's a gift in that for everyone. Yourself, people around you, the gold star. What a beautiful initiation into their successful path going forward. They've been shown that they can do it, that they can achieve. So it's celebrate the small wins along the way too, because they're going to fortify you for the big wins coming.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, we owe it to not only ourselves, but our families, people around us, just to be true to ourselves, everyone. Respectfully, but first to yourself. I teach this paradigm, I, you, we. And when I'm safe, people around me feel safe, and I can contribute more to the collective. So it always goes back to how do I feel? How are my family, my clients, people around, people in my inner circle, and then how do I contribute?
I remember the day I came to pick up the candle that I got from you, and you asked me some questions, and I can't remember exactly how you worded them, and but I remember driving home going, don't obsess, just park it and come back to it. Because I remember I wanted to give you, like, I gave you a answer, but it wasn't kind of it was the surface. And I think sometimes And especially, I know for me, I say to people, I have to get the surface answer out of the way and then I'll come back to you with the actual real answer, because the surface answer for me is more
Yeah.
of a reaction. I'll get back to you on the
Yes.
response. I might react first, and we'll get that out of the way, and then I'll come back with a response. Where appropriate. But and that's one of the things I love about my brain, is that at times it can be challenging, but when I mask, which is now more times than I actually mask, which is great, I go, okay, where am I sitting? Am I sitting more literal autism, or am I sitting more ADHD creativity? Now, they're just my words and the way I connect to it. And it's not about judgment. It's just so I know the lens I'm approaching something from, and then I can adapt as I need to. And the
I
more
love,
I trust
yeah, I
that,
love that.
yeah, because it's just, that's how my brain works, right? And I use the mainstream words, but that's just my brain.
Well, it's unique. So what I'm teaching is get to know how you process. Get to know how
Yeah.
you uniquely process energy. So that's what you're doing. And how liberating is it to create that awareness?
Mm,
So for me, the ultimate
mm,
goal that we all have as humans is freedom. Freedom to choose,
yeah.
freedom to be, freedom. That's the ultimate. So when we're free to be ourselves, know how you process. Maybe I need some time out. Maybe I need to, before I respond, like those sorts of things.
Mm,
And being true to yourself is just so anchoring, sacred, and liberating.
mm, yeah. That's beautiful. Now, if you were to give the listeners one piece of information to take away from today, what, if anything, would that be?
Small steps create the pathway to big results.
Mm. And I'm just going to add to that, well, as you said before, to celebrate those small steps just as
Exactly.
importantly as
Exactly.
the big ones, and do it your way. If you need to announce it to the world, go right
Exactly.
ahead. If not, if you just want to write in a journal or whatever, whatever's good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
You
that's
need
beautiful.
to, I think, to be proud of you, to be proud of me, I'm proud of me, you're proud of you. That is a gift to our souls and for all
Mm,
those that have come before us too.
mm, mm. Yeah, exactly. Because the thing is that they say, if you can't love and accept who you are, how can you fully love someone else?
Exactly.
Mm, yeah.
Totally.
Maria, it's been great having you on the show today. Thank you so much. I love exploring the way others see the world, and getting them to share how they experience the world and then how they can work with others. So guys, what I'm going to do is, when you see this, check the description, whether it's on YouTube or whether it's on Spotify, because Maria's links will be in there so that you can go and explore. And if she's the right person for you, go right ahead, book an appointment. I've known Maria for a long, long time. And then, I didn't see her for ages, and then we reconnected, and it was kind of like it was yesterday. So that was pretty amazing. Yeah, but I highly recommend Maria's work. So check out the links, make contact if it's right for you, and keep being the amazing people you are. Thanks,
Thank
Maria.
you. Thank you.